Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael, and today I thought I would show you how to make my vegetable stock. There's so many different recipes out there for vegetable stock, and it's basically whatever you've got in your refrigerator. And you want to kind of start with the basic kind of three. You want your carrot, you want onion, and celery. You get your mirepoix for that, and then anything else you want to clean out of your refrigerator, you can definitely throw that in your vegetable stock. I had a lot of vegetables here that were going south, as I would call it, and so I thought I would put them in a vegetable stock, and I thought I would show you how to make that. And I'm going to do something a little different today. Normally you cook a vegetable stock, you can put it in a stock pot or you can put it in the Dutch oven, but I'm going to put it into my Ninja Foodi Pro slow cooker, and we're going to let that cook overnight, and we're going to see how that does making this vegetable stock. So let's get started with what I've got. So if you've seen any of my other videos, I don't throw away a lot of the vegetables and things that I save, because that's great for what we're going to be using it for today. So I just pulled some of these out of the freezer, and here's some leeks that I had taken the tops off of them. There's certain vegetables and things that you definitely don't want to put into your stock, and that's stuff like bell peppers, cauliflower, broccoli. I don't like that in mine. It makes it, I think, taste a little bitter, and so I definitely don't put those in there. So if you've got your bags here that you put in the refrigerator, you can definitely, like I've got onions here and some leeks that I had cut up that I didn't use. So that's a definite good way to use some of those scraps that you got of your vegetables as you're preparing your meals. And then if you've got stuff in your refrigerator that's not quite where you want it to be, make a stock with it, and that's a good way to use that instead of throwing it away. So let's get started with that. So I've got my slow cooker here, and we're going to just kind of rough cut these vegetables a little bit. So these leeks and things, you definitely want to make sure that you give those a good wash. And I'm going to put these in a bowl and take these to the sink. I did wash them when I cut them up, but I didn't cut them open like this, and these have a lot of sand and grit in them. So I'm going to grab a bowl. I'll be right back, and I'll show you what we're going to do with these. All right, I'm back, and I've got a bowl here. If you've not seen this bowl, I did showcase this in one of my tools of the day that I put on my channel, and it's got holes here on the side that you can drain things with, and it's really nice when you're trying to rinse and wash things. You don't have to remove it. You can just kind of put it up, tip it up on its side, and the water comes out and everything else stays inside. This is a good tool if you don't have one of those. I use this probably more than anything else in my kitchen. So just kind of give everything just a rough cut we've got here. And these again are the tops to my leeks. Leeks is going to add a little bit of sweetness to it. They're a little bit sweeter than regular onions. And I'm going to go to the sink and give these a wash, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I've given my leeks a little bit of a wash there, and we'll go ahead and put those into our slow cooker. And we'll start with some of the other things that I've got here. I've got some green onions here, and I did pull some of the outer skin off of those. And let's kind of give some of these just a rough cut. You don't actually have to cut the root end off of it if you don't want to. Just kind of cut them up into small pieces, you know, inch, 2 inches. In here. All right, now I've got some carrots that I've got here, and like these with the others, you really don't have to take the skin off these carrots if you don't want to. You can just give them a good wash and just kind of roughly chop them up and put them into your stock. Now that we've got our carrots cut up, I'm going to drop those into our pot. All right, now I've got some celery here, and I have given that a good wash, and I'm just going to kind of give that a little bit of a rough cut too. If you want to cut some of those ends off, you can. These look pretty good, and they still have a little bit of crunch to them. I've got just a little bit more than I'm going to be able to use. So into the slow cooker it goes. So here's another bag of some of my vegetables that I had here. This looks like this is celery that was cut up that I didn't use. So we'll throw that in on the top of that. All right, I did have some onions here. I've got another leek that I'm going to cut up, and I did have some scallions that I put in there. I'm going to cut up another whole onion and put that in there. So that'll kind of be roughly around 3 onions, and I've got about 2 full heads of celery, and the carrots was about 8 carrots that I had of those. So just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of that recipe, what that is. So if you don't want to put the root in on that, you don't have to. We'll give these a rough cut, just so that these cook down really easily. And I'm going to be leaving the skin on these, so we'll just throw those in there like that. This is really a forgiving stock. We're not going to leave that behind. That'll make a great part of the stock. I've got some parsley here, and so I'm just going to kind of cut that down the middle, and we're going to roughly put that in there just like that. And we're getting close to being full on this. So I've got some tomatoes that I've got, that little cherry tomatoes. I've given these a good little wash, and I'm going to throw some of those in there. And lastly, I've got another leek here. I'm going to take some of these outer leaves off of this. This one has gotten a little bit farther out where I want to, but I think the bottom part is going to be really good. So I'm going to cut that off like that. I'm going to take that to the sink. These outer leaves, I don't want to put that in there. I'll take these inner ones here, and I'm going to take these and give these a good wash, and these will go into my pot as well. Definitely when you're working with leeks, that you can see here, I'll open some of this up. There is a lot of grit and sand down in there. You can see that in there. You definitely want to give these a wash because you do not want gritty stock. So I'm going to cut these up. I'll put those back in my little colander and give these a good little wash. All right, I've got all of my fresh vegetables in there, and I've got a few of these dried shiitake mushrooms. I'm going to put some of these in there also to go along with those fresh ones. So just a couple of handfuls of those. And lastly, I'm going to put in some peppercorns. I'm just going to put just a few in there, probably about 15 to 20 peppercorns. We'll throw those in there. I'm not going to put any salt in this. You can definitely salt this if you want to. I like to, when I'm making my soups and my dishes and things that I'll be using the vegetable stock for, I like to control the salt at the pot where I'm actually making it. So if you put salt in this, you can definitely do that. Season it. It's completely up to you. I'm not going to put any in this. I'm going to control that at the pot when I'm actually making whatever dish I'm going to be using this stock for. So now I'm going to fill this up with water, and I'll let you know how much water I put in here, and we'll be right back. All right, I'm back now, and I did put 16 cups of water in here. I did cover all the vegetables up, so they are covered in that. So how much ever you want to make, how many ever vegetables you have in your refrigerator, just make sure that you cover the vegetables so they get a good cover on them. And with the lid on these, we're going to see if we get a lot of evaporation on this. I'm going to keep a watch on this, and we'll see what it's going to do. And I will let you know when we come back how long this took to make. If you want to put this together before you go to bed and then turn it on low overnight, that would be perfect. Wake up in the morning and you've got it ready to go, and we'll move on from our next process. So I will see you back, and I'll let you know how this turns out, and we'll show you how we're going to remove our vegetables and get our stock and put it up. Stay with me. I am back, and my veggie stock is done. I did let it sit and cook overnight. It cooked for about 9 hours on low, but definitely you want to keep a watch on it to make sure that that was enough time for you, depending on how many vegetables you had in there. If you didn't have as many as I did, it might not take as long. So definitely the Ninja did a great job with this overnight. Put it on low and let it sit, and then it turned off this morning right when I was getting up. So I've let this cool down just a little bit now so that I can handle it, and we're going to go ahead and get our veggies out and get our stock and get that ready to be put up. So let's get started. So I'm going to take the lid off of it here. Like I said, I did let it cool down a little bit. You can still see a little bit of steam coming off of it, and I've got just a 2-cup measuring cup here, just whatever you've got to use, and I'm going to put it into a double strainer. So I've got a strainer inside of a bowl, and then I've got another one on the top up here. I want to make sure that I get all of the liquid out of there just as clean and clear as we can possibly get. And we're going to continue to work on this to get everything out. All right, once I get my little strainer filled up, I'm going to take it over to another strainer that I've got over here. And if you haven't seen that strainer, it is the one that has the holes in the bottom of it. This has really come in handy for me because I can put the veggies in here and let more of that liquid drain out into that bottom. So I'm getting another straining on that side. I'm going to continue to work on this, and I'll show you how much stock we get out of this pot. All right, I am down to the last little bit. I wanted to show you the inside of this pot. This thing is really nice with this non-stick finish on the inside of it. You can really get everything out of it that you put in it. No, you're going to love one of these. I'm not being sponsored by this company to promote their product, but everything that I've cooked in it has just been a breeze to get out of it. This non-stick finish in here really makes that easy. Okay, now that we've got everything out of our liner there for our pot, I've got my strainer here. I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to let these vegetables sit here in this, and I'm going to kind of show you what that looks like. That's getting probably another pint of fluid out of that. So I'm going to let this continue to sit in this colander, and that'll drain even more of that juice out of there. And as you can see in my stock here, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out so you can see what that looks like over here as well. We've got a really nice stock. Those onions have released those colors from that skin on those, so we get a little bit darker. And the tomatoes are going to make it a little bit darker too. So definitely put in there what you like. If you don't like any of the things that I put in mine, definitely put the items in there that you like in your stock. Make it your own. That is what is nice about making stuff at home instead of buying the box versions, because if you don't like celery, don't put that in there. So definitely make this the way you like it. And I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to got a funnel here with a quart jar, and I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and I'll show you when I get back how much we actually got out of this stock. Remember, we started with 16 cups of our liquid that we started with. I'm going to go ahead and wash my ladle because I don't want anything on the outside of this to get into my stock after we filtered it twice, 3 times, 4 times on this. So I'll be back in just a minute. So as I was filling out my quart jars here, I wanted to show you another way. If you didn't have these extra strainers and things that I've got here, you can definitely use a nut bag like I've got here, where you could use it to make your nut milks and things. If you don't have one of these and you've got some cheesecloth, you can definitely use that. And you just want to strain through your vegetable stock right into that, and that'll take out any extra impurities that you might have in that. So this is another way that you can do what I did with these extra strainers over here. I was going to show you another way in which you can save your veggie stock. If you're not going to be able to use it all at one time, you can definitely put it in this, put it in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 days, and then if you're planning on using it, you've got it there. But you can also freeze it. So if you want to measure out a quart of your stock, that's typically what's in one of those boxes that you buy in the store. You can put it in one of these Ziploc bags, and I've got another plastic container here, and you can put this in the freezer, and that way you can freeze an actual quart, and that way you'll know what's in each bag. So once you've got it measured out, you can take it and just fill up your bag, and then take and push as much of that air out of it as you can. And I'll bring this up here so we can kind of see what that is. All right, after you get your bag sealed, you put it back into your container that you've got it there. That way, if the bag does happen to leak before it freezes, you've got a way to catch that before it gets frozen. So definitely, this is to safeguard in case this bag bursts open on you in the freezer. You've got something to catch it, and you'll be able to salvage that, and you won't have that big mess to clean up in your freezer. So this is another way that you can actually save your stock. Now, if you've got a pressure canner, you can definitely go ahead and pressure can your stock as well. This cannot be water bath can, because like all water bath canning, whatever you're canning has to be of an acidic level that's pretty high. So that's why you can can tomatoes and things, because of the acidity level in those. So this has to be pressure canned if you're going to put it up that way. So if you're not going to be able to use it right now, you can use the baggie, put it in the baggie in the freezer and freeze it that way. You can pressure can it if you're not going to be able to use it. That way you've got it shelf stable for whenever you do get ready to use it. And I believe I'm going to have here enough for about 4 quarts. So I'm going to finish filling these up, and I'll be right back. All right, I am back, and we started out with 16 cups and we wound up with 4 quarts of our veggie stock. So I've got one here in my freezer container that I'm going to put that in. I've got one here that I wanted to show you again what that looks like. And then I've got these plastic lids that you can put on these if you're temporarily going to put these into the refrigerator. And then I've got the metal ones here that you would use for your pressure canner if you were going to pressure can it. So you've got multiple options of what you can do with your stock. If you made as much as I did, you definitely have enough to put away for those future dates when you might need it. I'm going to continue to let this drain over here. I might be able to get another little bit. I was able to get some out of there to fill this one up. So it's probably going to drain a little bit more, and I'll be able to get some more out of it. And once you're done with it, you can put this in your compost pile, because it has done everything that it is going to do. It's released all of its nutrients and its minerals and its vitamins out of it. You've got it in your stock. Our Ninja Foodi did the job that it was supposed to do. Let that cook overnight. If you've got one of these, definitely give this a try if you're looking for something else you can do with it. And if you've got just a regular slow cooker, you can definitely do that as well. So put whatever veggies you like in your veggie stock. Use what you like. That is, again, what I said earlier. Make it at home. Make it the way you like it. I hope you like this content, and if you do, maybe you might consider giving me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. and check out one of these other 2 videos over here on the side. You might find something else you like. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment if you made veggie stock, how yours turned out, and what you did with it. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.